Thank you so much for joining and getting a demo of Selling Lane auction software. You're going to love it. It's really great. The customers we have love it a lot. My name is Jude Campbell, and I'm here to walk you through the product. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about the opportunity. So, the auction business across the globe is worth about $1.6 trillion. Where that comes from is auctions of all calibers, every kind of niche known to man or woman. It's absolutely massive, and it's a growth opportunity. So positioning yourself with some great auction software at this time is really great for you. There's been a digital transformation. In other words, 71% of all auctions now are online. That includes some of the real old school auctions, even farm auctions, horse auctions, airplane auctions. Things that used to be only in person are now online. And when you are specializing, such as an auto auction or an estate sale or maybe a video game auction, you really have the advantage because you can use software like this to really service your niche. And the nice thing is with companies like ours, Selling Lane, a flat fee model, it eliminates expensive growth taxes, allowing you basically to launch quickly and run profitably. So let's get into that in detail. So the future of auctions, in our belief, is SaaS. SaaS meaning monthly rather than per transaction. So with a subscription model, plans are highly predictable and easily budgeted for. Your CFO likes it. It's easy for you to understand. And we call it the Stripe Shopify model, where you're the owner. We provide the infrastructure, in other words, the rails, but you own the station, the train, and the passengers. So it's your profit for your business, not ours. We make money from the monthly fee, you make money from everything else. So let's dig into that a little bit. So Shopify comes along and taught people how to go direct to consumer similar to Amazon and do it by themselves. And Stripe, of course, did the same thing for payments. You know, if you were running a little farmer's market, you could now take credit cards with a little swiper on your phone. These are the types of examples of businesses that changed the landscape, if you will, of the business that they were serving. And that's what we're trying to do with Selling Lane. So let's talk more about flat fee. First of all, predictable pricing, low monthly fee, and with unlimited listings and unlimited users, there is a simplicity to the software that allows you to be active and running within hours, not months. And it includes amazing enterprise features for larger companies as well as small. And even as a small company, you can act like a large company with Selling Lane. But let's talk about the negatives. Out there is a lot of software that does very similar things to Selling Lane, except most of them are charging what we call a success tax or a per item fee or seller fee, and sometimes even a user fee. And sometimes they get large setup fees. And there's also some technical barriers. Some of these tools are very complex for smaller sellers and maybe even too basic for the real professionals. And it's a kind of a crap experience because you're on multiple screens. You have your CRM on one and your auction on another, and you're managing your business through all these different screens when you really want to have software that does almost everything. And that's what Selling Lane is. There's another part to this problem, and there's sort of four different things that we worry about and this is why we didn't go this way. First of all, we call the integration tax, which is charging extra for extra features. Selling Lane doesn't do that. There's no per seat surcharge. So if you grow or you want to add a user, if your boss wants to be on vacation and log in and look, there's no extra fee for that. There's no tech tolls either. There's no premium fees for simulcast or mobile apps or even needing servers in the building. None of that. This is all online and it's beautifully built. And with Selling Lane, there's no setup fees. It's just one monthly fee and that's it. So you don't have to pay that $2,500 or $25,000 in some cases upfront fees just to get started. And we don't need to come to your facility to teach you. It's so simple to use, you should be able to run it yourself and be operating within hours. So let's talk about some of the differences. So first of all, it's an all-in-one utility. We've got CRM, invoicing, bidding are all part of the core system. They're not modules. You don't have to add extra for them. You've unlimited everything, unlimited lots running at the same time, unlimited images, unlimited bidders. It's on every plan. And you can run simulcast or simulcastless with high-definition, low-latency streaming or just with the photos of the item. Either way, it's your choice. This is mobile first, which basically means that you can run an auction from your smartphone and load inventory right from your smartphone. And of course, it's instant white label. You can upload your logo, put your domain name in, and all of a sudden you are operating. So this is usually where people ask, can I really launch within minutes or hours? When the answer is really yes. So it takes about 5 minutes to sign up, which is just basically putting in your basic information, your company information, answer some setup questions, upload your logos, etc. It takes about 20 minutes. Start loading your inventory, which, you might be playing around with the inventory setup for a little bit, so I allowed an hour there. And then maybe take 30 minutes to an hour to make some announcements on your social media to let your customers know that you're there and start calling your customers and getting them registered. You're up and running. That's it. And this thing is feature-packed, so proxy bidding, silent bidding, buy it now, simulcast streaming, simulcastless streaming, like I mentioned before, batch auctions, high-speed bulk uploads, and a branded experience with your own logo. So we include a website where you can put your own logo, and we just have a Selling Lane logo here, but this could be your own. And the customers themselves, the buyers, can register and self-manage. They can look at your rules, look at auctions, even change things, change passwords, etc. themselves without having to call you. And then the buyer experience is beautiful. They have all the abilities that you would expect even before they log in. You can see they can view the vehicles before they've logged in, but once they log in, they can start to bid. I really think this is one of the best open bid with proxy systems out there. Basically, you have everything you need to run a full proxy bid system, and we set the bid increments based on the amount of the product. In this case, I'm doing a car auction, and you can see it's a $12,500 current price. So the bid increment set at $250, $500, and $750, which makes sense. But if I was selling a $100 item, the bid increment might be $5, $15, and $20, So it just changes depending on what the amount of the vehicle is. And of course, giant countdown timer, real obvious when this auction is going to end, and a bidder can just put a proxy bid anytime they want. We also offer silent private bidding, which is a great feature, particularly for charity auctions and dealer bid sales, and a lot of companies just like it because they tend to get more profit on silent bids than they do on open bids, especially when they're smaller, and it's built into Selling Lane. And of course, the ability for you to just post the price and let people just click it to win it. And you can see here I've got a $20,000 price on this vehicle. They can just hit the button and they own it. And another thing that really makes Selling Lane, I think, unique is that you can build your own condition reports. This is an automotive condition report, but this could just as easily be a horse or a farm auction. And these images you can just upload yourself. You can change the questions. You can color code them based on severity. It's really, really brilliant. Built into our software is a full auction buyer CRM. You can manage your customer details. You can add tasks, appointments. You can click to call, click to email, and write notes, print invoices, and other actions. It includes a beautiful auction dashboard where you can manage just about everything from one place, from showing me cars or items that haven't been run yet, all the way through looking at who hasn't been confirmed in your auction, looking at your buyer base, etc. And if you decide to do a live auction with an auctioneer as well as online, we have a full clerking system available where you can manage the bids against the internet bidders. In this case, you can see that the lane is winning, but it could just as easily have been an internet bidder winning. And you can also broadcast live simulcast, which you can see down here. This is an example of a camera in a lane. In fact, this is a separate item. You can have this auction run simulcast without having video and just instead show the photos that you've taken of the product, which is really great if your auction is a long-distance auction and you're an auctioneer in a different state. We love the reporting module, and our CFOs tell us it's their favorite. We have every kind of report that you can think of and adding more every day, including run lists, customer lists, check registries, etc. Auction invoicing and upselling is built in. In other words, you can print invoices. Any software should be able to do that, but with ours, you can upsell. So in this case, you can see I added a delivery charge of $250 and added it to the product. And that created an invoice with that item added. And there's just so much more. I can go on for hours here, but I don't want to turn this into training. This is really supposed to be a demo, but here we are. Custom fees, QR codes for business cards for your employees, add additional locations, set your own rules, set arbitration if you wish. It's all built in. We like to think of it as everything you need to run a successful auction. So let's just review, do a little recap. All in one. CRM, invoicing, bidding are all part of the core engine, not modules. Unlimited everything. Lots, users, images, bidders. We don't charge you more. You can do Simulcastless or Simulcast. You can be mobile first, run from a phone, run from a tablet, run from a PC. We don't mind. And it's really, really old school friendly. In other words, if you have customers with older tech and slower connections, the software works beautifully for them. And the biggest, I think probably most important thing is we represent your brand right up front. This is the point where people say, wow, you're really inexpensive. How can you do that? Is this really that good a software? And the answer is really don't confuse affordability with entry level, because that's not the case here. The myth is that if it's affordable, it must be basic. And the reality is that Selling Lane is enterprise-grade infrastructure using Google Cloud services and the latest technology to make this thing be one of the most successful auction systems out there. The difference with legacy software is that it's built to extract your profit, where Selling Lane was built to power your growth and make you better. And the result is you don't use Selling Lane to save money. You use it for your future, because this is the kind of software that will future-proof your business. So here are some auction categories: ATVs, book and manuscript, real estate, jewelry, foreclosures, etc. And there's some niche auctions such as cannabis seeds and domain names and intellectual property and even paranormal and haunted items. It's amazing. There's so many things that you can sell in an auction with Selling Lane. So one of the quotes I really love is from Irene Yu. She was the design executive at Google, and she basically says that good design is like a refrigerator. When it works, no one notices, but when it doesn't, it stinks. And we spent a lot of time making sure that our software really works and makes it easy for a customer to use. We call it obvious design. So thank you so much for watching the demo. I hope this helps. Give us a call or email if you have any additional questions. Thank you so much.